and I'm back in the United States for 3 weeks here in mid-July 2025, really in large part to sell our home in Michigan so that we can buy our home right now in the Dominican Republic. But I wanted to come on here and do an Ask Me Anything. And there are a ton of questions about how I feel coming back to the US after being away in the Dominican Republic. And I'm going to answer these questions and many, many more as we go through the next, 30-ish minutes to talk about life here in the United States compared to the Dominican Republic. If you're not familiar with me, my name's Jamie Gruber. I've been a 3-year so far expat in the Dominican Republic after quitting a big corporate job back in the United States, making $400,000 or $500,000 a year in 2021, 2022, moved to the Dominican Republic. And on this channel, I share experiences, life, some information and news economically or whatever. And right now, as we sit, I'm back in the US. Michigan is where I came back to, but I forgot that I had to be in Atlanta, which is where I am right now. Wait a minute, what happened? Something just happened here. There we go. Why can't I see? There we go. Back in Atlanta, back in Michigan, but I'm sitting in Atlanta right now so that I can speak at an event tomorrow. So I'm trying to figure out the live function here with all the chat stuff. You know what? Let me do this. I'll show you where I am. Check this out. Beautiful, beautiful spot. That's Lake Lanier in Georgia. It's very pretty. It's warm. This sweater is a little bit of an overkill, but I was on a plane and then I was on a plane and then make this a little better for all you guys wondering what the hell is going on. I was in a plane and then I was in a car for 2 hours driving. So I was cold, and in this room it's air conditioned, so I'm good. But anyway, if you're just joining, I'm going to talk about what I've learned coming back to the United States. And I'm going to start with the first question that I had here, which is this from Just Rafaela. And that says, hello, Jose, good to see you. It says, how do you feel about the political climate here being back in the US? How's ICE? I don't know how ICE is. Where we live in the United States, in Michigan, you don't see ICE very much. What I could tell you from that standpoint, we've seen much more in DR. Like when you see, guys, we've seen like a truck full of Haitians in front of us, and then a truck rolls up on the side, and there's guys like kind of like hidden in the truck, and all of a sudden they're special ops. They like leap off of their truck onto the truck with the Haitians and round up. Like, we've seen very aggressive deportation tactics in the DR. I mean, my 2-3 weeks in the US, I'm not seeing anything with ICE. But as far as the political climate, it's really interesting. Here's my sense. Here's my take. The divisiveness is palpable, like really palpable. And here's the thing. I travel back a lot to the US by myself. I don't always travel back with my family. Hold on a second. There's something on there. I want to get rid of it. It's going to bother me. Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't travel back by myself. No, it's not okay. It looks a little foggy right there. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to try to clean that up. There we go. Let me see how that looks. That looks worse. Why does that look worse? Come on. This is live, people. This is what happens live. That should be better. All right, that's better. So I travel back by myself. And when I travel back by myself, it's like I come in, I land, I go do my thing, and I get out, right? Like I'm not really smelling the roses or looking around or listening. I mean, I can, sense what's around me, obviously, but I don't really pay attention to like the politics and everything. When I travel with my whole family, like I'm very attentive. And the reason I think is, I was thinking about this before, when I don't travel with my family, all I want to do is get back to my family. So I'm just sort of like tunnel vision, land, get the rental car, go to my thing, get back to the airport, a day or two later and head out. And then while I'm there, there's a lot of what I do, the places I go, I'll talk at events, I'll host things. It's very intentional. It's like really like I'm there. I got to maximize every interaction and then I get out. Now, being back with my family, we did this last year in August as well for a month. Like I get a chance to just sort of like feel. And like the divisiveness, so in the Dominican Republic, there's absolutely political debate. I hear it, I see it, there's absolutely political debate. But what I can't see, let me see, live chat, all of it, there we go. What's not in the Dominican Republic is like the debate going beyond the issue. There's discussion, there's passionate difference between people. They don't feel good about it. It's they get into it, they yell at each other, whatever, but then it's over and they hug it out. They give kiss on the cheek and they leave. Right? It's sort of kind of funny to watch. And that used to be what it was in the United States. When I was growing up, at least, that's what I would see. I would see political debate, discussion, disagreement, but never to the point where people would isolate each other. Here now, I mean, here's an example. My wife hired a tree guy to cut down branches of trees around our house. We live in an area that's like all white pine trees, and there were a few of them were starting to like grow toward the house. And we're selling the house, but she still wanted to make sure it was cleaned up. Like storms roll through, we don't want something falling on the house. So we ask our neighbors for a tree guy, and one of the neighbors says, "Oh, this guy's really good. Just don't talk to him about politics." And then that whole thing in the text thread became kind of like a laughing thing, but it was like, dude, don't get into it because like they were kind of degrading the guy a bit because he happened to have a different viewpoint. Like the person is the source of the attack in the United States, not the viewpoint. Does that make sense? So like if I were to say I'm pro-life and I believe I don't believe that abortion should be legal. Like I could have that position and I could make points on that position. And if you're pro-choice, and we could do this vice versa. If I were to say I was pro-choice and I have that position, I can make arguments, and you're pro-life, whatever. I'm not, I'll tell you where I am. Because people are like, where are you? Are you Trump? Are you MAGA? Like, I'm not any of that. I don't identify with a person. That's not how I work. I identify with my own thoughts on each issue. My thought is more pro-life than choice. And what I mean is, like, I don't like late-term stuff. I like, the more you can get closer to that decision being made sooner in the pregnancy is where my mind goes with it. So for whatever that's worth. But anyway, if I'm one or the other, it's like I'm that. Not my viewpoint, but it's me. And therefore, if I am, let's say, pro-choice, then people on the right are going to assume that I'm left on everything. I want open border, and I want this, and I want that. And the same thing goes the other way. If I'm pro-life, then people on the left assume, oh, then you must be, anti-immigrant and yada, yada, yada. Whatever people think left and right is, they hear one issue and they checklist you all the way down on that issue. And like, that's it. That's all you are. That's all you can be. That's the end of it, right? So that to me is extremely frustrating. Why can't I see the chat? There we go. Pablo, stop touching my face. I'm working on several Dominican projects. I love it. Good to see all of you guys out here. I see 6-7 people live right now. So how do I feel about the political climate being back in the U.S.? That's the question that I'm working on right now. It's sad to me. It's sad to me that, it's such a beautiful, I mean, the United States is the greatest country on the planet. And the reason I say that is I can go live in the Dominican Republic without worrying about it because I hold a U.S. passport. I could take a U.S. dollar and go spend it in another country. Like, where do you get that kind of opportunity in the world? The U.S. is still the biggest of big superpowers. It provides the most opportunity. It's incredible. People always get on me sometimes. They're like, oh, if they are so good, why are people leaving? I'm like, mother effer, that's not who's watching my stuff, right? Like, people who are working for $400 a month and don't speak English aren't watching my stuff. Like, I'm obviously speaking to a group of people who feel as though, hey, I have the means and ability to live in the Dominican Republic and benefit from life and culture there. Not people that are on the lowest end of the socioeconomic ladder in DR. DR is a very polarized country. There's a lot of poor, there's a lot of rich, there's a chunk in the middle that's not very rich, but I hope you get the point. But the U.S. is the greatest country on the planet, and it will remain that for a long time. It provides the most opportunity. But at the same time, man, I don't know if it's because it's like too developed, like everything is so taken care of that all people have to worry about is, if I have one position on something, I must be exonerated from society in some way, shape, or form. Like that's just crazy. Here's what I will say though. Whether you're left or right, and this might rile some people up, but F it, let's go for it. Whether you're left or right, it doesn't really matter to me. And honestly, there's some things I'm more right, some things I'm more left. I'll admit I'm more center right. I don't know. I think about a lot of fiscal stuff. Like I just less tax, all of that. But anyway, but like New York, if you're from New York, I don't get the guy, Mamdani. I don't, that's not left. That's like way out there. I don't get it. I really don't get socialism. Like, I'll give you this, because some people might challenge, and I know I have, well, there is socialism in the United States, right? We pay taxes for certain social programs, and I just believe that those social programs should be like the lowest level of netting to kind of just catch people. Like, the society's developed enough. I don't think everybody should get free college and free this and free that. I just don't believe in that. And I would say that if you want to balance the budget truly, tell everybody under 40 that Social Security is gone. by the end of the century, you would have a fully balanced budget and you would have no national debt. Truly, like I don't believe in that social welfare program. Not for everybody. I believe in it for certain people, but not for everybody. So anyway, that's how I feel about the climate in the US. It's just a little crazy. It's a little out there for me. It's sad for me to watch it in the country of my birth, in the country I grew up in. And again, an amazing country. We love coming home. We love seeing people. We love doing all the things. But you just can't have full, authentic conversations with people here because everything is cut with left and right. Cut with left and right. Thriving is a debate. That's too deep for this, but thriving and that's the go-to for socialism. And I could go through and debate that point. It's just not what I want to do on this video because we're going to talk about DR. But I don't think that we shouldn't have any social programs. But pure socialism doesn't work, not even in Scandinavia. All right, this question two questions came from Exo Jalisco, and he or she asked two different questions here, and it was, where do you think the safest areas to live in DR would be, and do you feel just as safe in DR compared to where I lived before in Michigan? Do I feel just as safe in DR compared to where you do? Yeah, I do, but I've chosen to live in a bubble. So just to be clear, like a lot of people say about DR that it's unsafe there. It's like there are unsafe places in all countries. So it's hard to, where I lived in Michigan to where I live in Punta Cana, in Michigan where I live, 20 minutes up the road one way, there was a splash pad shooting at like a park, like kids were shot, like mass shooting there. Just like 10 minutes from there was the Oxford shooting. And then on the other side of Michigan State, there was a massive shooting there. And then in the town I live in, all of a sudden the town got shut down. You know, every cop car in the county came blazing into the local elementary school right before we moved, like 6 months before we moved. We're like, what the hell what is going on? There was the threat of it. No, there was actually no active shooter there, thank God, but there was the threat of it. So from that standpoint, compared to Punta Cana, I feel safer in Punta Cana. Do I feel safer in Santo Domingo Este than I do in the town I live in, Michigan? No. Do I feel safer in Santo Domingo than I do in certain neighborhoods of Chicago, LA, New York? Yeah. I mean, I'm talking like Piantini, Bella Vista, Naco, not like Capotillo, right? Obviously, right? So it's a hard equivalence to make. Like, do I feel just as safe in DR compared to where I lived before? DR US, that's such a broad, that there's too many variables. The town I was in Michigan to Punta Cana, equally safe. The only space that I feel unsafe in Punta Cana versus living in Michigan is driving. That's it. The rest of it, I feel safer in DR, meaning I don't worry about my kids being shot at school. I don't worry about going through like a barbecue festival and somebody picking me off from the roof. I don't worry about the animosity that people have here in the United States and what they do with that because of the political divide. I just saw a comment. I want to make sure I see all these. It fades on this. So I'm getting used to live, guys. I haven't done a ton of lives here. Tell people under 40 that money they have paid into the system won't be there when they... No, so Cigar Talk, that's not money they paid into the system. They'd have to continue to pay over time. And what I mean is you paying into Social Security is not yours. It's you're paying for who's collecting Social Security now. That's how the Social Security tax works. It's not like a piggy bank for you. So you're right. They would have to continue paying for the next 20 years until all the people on Social Security age out and die. But I mean, something's got to give. Something's got to give is my point. And that to me is the way it gives. But anyway, I feel as safe in Punta Cana on many levels as I do in Michigan. I feel safer in Punta Cana when it comes to random crime, random violence. And I feel less safe in Punta Cana driving than I do in Michigan. Like when I landed and got in the car, it was like, look at this. People are stopping at four-way stop signs and truly waiting for each other, like in the US, not in DR. So that stuff to me is where I feel safer. Now, the other question, what do you think the safest areas to live in DR would be? I mean, I'll say this. I think most of it. That doesn't mean all of it. So for those of you like, what do you mean? What about here? Yeah, there's bad, obviously. I think Las Terrenas is safe. I think the North Shore is safe. I think Punta Cana is safe. I think if you move down there in DR now, how is the safe is the mailing system? The mailing system. There's really not a mailing system. You go through couriers. Is that what, JT? I'd be curious to hear a little bit more on that question. If you mean like people stealing stuff off your porch, like we've never experienced, like that was the thing. When I moved down there, I kept being told to wait until somebody does. And then it never has happened. So, or wait till one of the couriers, like, they rustle through your stuff and steal it or whatever. Like, not happened. But anyway, so that is, Cigar Talk, that you can't take the tax away and fulfill the current payments on the liability or the obligations on Social Security. You can't do both. But I get your point. I truly do. But it will be a decision to say, hey, everyone's going to need to suck it up and pay Social Security tax that you'll never collect. And for this generation of about 25 years, you will set the country off in the best direction possible. It's just, that's what the sell would be. And you're right. People wouldn't like it, but that would be the play. But anyway, safest places. Punta Cana is very safe overall, like from the airport all the way up through Cortecito, Macau, it's safe. I've said this before on some of these videos, like I'll bet you if I landed 5 people that have never been to the Dominican Republic before, I whipped through that. If I landed 5 people in Punta Cana, let's say, and I handed them each a rental car with a GPS and said, just go to the destination. And I plugged in Jarabacoa, Cabarete, Las Terrenas, Santo Domingo, and Santiago as the 5 locations that they're going to go. And I gave them, a reasonable place to go, right? Like a nice hotel or an Airbnb or whatever. I would bet you, and you guys tell me what you think on this. I would bet you that those 5 people would arrive and I'd get on a Zoom call with them all, say, hey, your first time in DR, third world country, the danger, level 2 travel advisor, yada, yada, yada. How did it feel driving there? And they would say, like the bike's going the wrong way. That was new. Like I had to be alert. But the roadways were nice. The rest stops were cool. There was food and like we would stop some places like music and yeah, we got to our Airbnb. Everything's good. Like, yeah, actually, I'm kind of surprised. It was way more developed than I expected it to be, and it was way safer. Could a GPS in Santo Domingo, like, accident, reroute you through hell? Absolutely, that could happen. But let's just say, I believe that the 5 people that I send to those 5 locations would call me and say, wow, this place wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you think like if we set 5, I should do that as a YouTube video, like land 5 random strangers who have never been to DR in Punta Cana, give them all a rental car, give them all a GPS, and give them 5 different addresses, track them with video, and then at the end, hear what they had to say. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. I could do that. Who knows? Let me see. I saw a couple chats come through. I want to make sure I got it. Can you talk Jay and my wife? Or like you and Jay, my wife is Dominican. I see Cigar Talk. She has her citizenship interview tomorrow. Oh, nice. Congrats, man. That's amazing. I'm personally funding my own retirement. Don't trust their government. Yeah, Pablo, it's funny. I said that to my wife today because I said this to her. Like, I really think this is the way to go. I said, look, if it's there and they want to pay it to me, I'm going to take it. But I'm not counting on Social Security for me personally. I'm just not. If you order items from Amazon, from online like Amazon, or like, yeah, JT, I'm sure there's stories like anywhere, right? Like, porch pirates or whatever, but I have had 0 issues with that. Whether I go pick it up or it comes to my door, DHL drops something off, 0 issues with that. Reina says, I understand you perfectly. Every country has good and bad places. I appreciate that. See if there's anything else. How's my Spanish, Hector? It's not great. If you move down there in DR, how safe is mail? We talked about that. Tell people under 40. Me and the wife, hey, RR, love the content. I appreciate that. Okay. All right, so that was the second question, was safe. So where is it safest? Most places. You'll know when you're not safe. Gated communities are cool because they give the air of safety. But I think Punta Cana is safe. I think Cabarete is safe. I think Sosua, if you live in like Sosua Ocean Village or whatever, is safe. I think Puerto Plata is safe. I think Las Terrenas is safe. Las Carreras is safe. Miches, I don't, that's what they call them. Yucca farmer. They call them porch pirates. People that, I think they do. I think that's what it is, right? Somebody else verify that. Hope I'm not talking about something like, nasty or whatever. All right. This question from Brea E says, hello, what made you sell your property in Michigan? Did renting it not work? Oh, I can hold it and see it. So they're asking what made me sell my property in Michigan? Did renting it not work? Thank you. So here's my answer on this. We're in Michigan. Well, I'm in Atlanta right now. I'm presenting to a young entrepreneurs group tomorrow. I honestly forgot I was doing this. My buddy that asked me to do it messaged me Monday and he said, hey, you all set for Saturday in Atlanta? I'm like, yeah. So I went online, I found a flight from Detroit down and one back tomorrow. So it's like bang and bang. But then when I landed, he's like, oh, it's in Lake Lanier. I'm like, oh, where's that? It's like a 2-hour drive. So I'm like way out in the middle of Georgia. But this question about selling the house. So we went to Michigan. My wife was scheduled to come here for 10 days because our house is listed. Now, we've been renting our house full time since we've left. We've had like 2 weeks of vacancy in nearly 3 years, literally 2 weeks. And we're renting it fully furnished, utilities, Wi-Fi, maintenance included. So we just rent it for a premium and we just pay for everything. So we're not transferring electric bills or whatever. We put like a cap on the utilities. Like if it's over $500, they got to chip in. But nobody ever went over $500 for gas and electric, which is great. That's my electric bill in Punta Cana. No bullshit. So anyway, so we've been renting it and it's been fine. And we love the house, we love the town, we love all of that. But we have decided that home is Dominican Republic. Now the issue is we're out of that house 3 years and there's a rule with capital gains tax. This is really what made us want to sell the house. Made us feel we should sell the house. The rule with capital gains is you can keep all your gains tax-free up to $250,000 in gain if you're single, $500,000 in gain if you're married. So in other words, if you bought a house for $500,000 and you've lived in it and you sell it for $1 million and you're married, then that whole $500,000 in equity gain is yours. You don't pay any tax on it. The condition on that though is you need to live in that house 2 out of the last 5 years. 2 out of the last 5 years. So what that means is we've been gone for 3 years. So starting in about September, October, we will be officially underneath living in the house 2 out of the last 5 years. And therefore, if we sell the house, now we're exposed to cap gain. So between state and federal cap gain taxes, that means we'd need the property value to go up like 20%. Well, even more, because we'll need a roof, we'll need a driveway, right? Like the maintenance cost and the taxes, we need to the value has to go up like 30%. And that's probably, I don't know, a decade away where we are in Michigan. It's a great town, but it's Michigan. It's not like a hotbed of growth. The town we're in has a lot of demand. We luckily picked a really great town. But the point is it's either sell now, capture all our equity, or we need to keep it, do all this maintenance work, rent it out, have the headache of the house and everything. And for 30 years, or for 10 years, hopefully we are able to sell it, pay the taxes, have the maintenance costs, and we'll take the exact same amount as we would today. So that's the only reason why we're selling it. And because we're here 3 weeks and because we came back a month, it pushes we moved in August of 2022, but the month last year gave us an extra month in the home because we were living there. And then the 3 weeks this year that we're in it right now. So we pretty much have if we never move back into the home for even a day, it would be August 23rd would be when 3 years we're out of the house. And we had a renter. But now it's probably September 23rd, probably mid-October that we have to sell it by. And we do have an offer that we just accepted today to sell the house. So it looks like it's all good. And then we're under contract on a house in Punta Cana Village that's contingent upon the sale of our home. And we got an extended deadline for close to August 15. The problem is we can't close on the house here in Michigan or there in Michigan until August 30. So we're asking and hoping for an extension with the contract we have in Punta Cana Village. Otherwise, we're going to lose our deposit. I don't think we will. I think it'll be fine. But that's why we're selling. We posted up our life is going to be for the foreseeable future in DR. People ask, oh, forever? Nothing's forever for me. But for the foreseeable future, it's in DR. And honestly, Michigan's not home. I moved to Michigan only for my job in 2017. It was a great opportunity to make a bunch of money and get a bunch of equity. All of my wife's family is in Boston. All of my family is in upstate New York. So if we were to re-enter the United States, my wife said it today, she's like, I think it's southern New Hampshire or northern Mass, something like that. We like suburban. We don't want to live in a city. So, if we decide, hey, our kids, once they get to high school in 4 or 5 years, we want to do high school in the US, then it probably would be Boston. So for whatever that's worth, that's why we're selling. But renting it was fine. Actually, renting it was way easier than I ever imagined. I didn't think, guys, we live in a house that's on 1.25 acres of land, in-ground pool, end of a cul-de-sac. It's Pleasantville. It's beautiful. But we left it fully furnished when we left, and we were like, oh, well, let's rent it fully. Who does that? People that rent a house like that typically have their own furniture. They want long-term. We have not had any issue. The last tenant was getting divorced. She's a divorce lawyer, getting divorced. She needed a place to stay for a little while and have her, for her kids. People before that were like, oh, we're displaced by flood or fire, and they needed a place to go, and the insurance paid that. Somebody was getting a house finished. How in DR people say oh, they're always late to deliver. Well, so are contractors in the US. I know this because we've had 2 or 3 tenants that rented from us because the due date of the delivery of their home was delayed 4 to 6 months. You know what I mean? So contractors are delayed no matter where you are. But that's why we're selling the house, to answer this question from Brea. Let me see if there's anything else here. Here's a question. How do you feel about all the changes here in America? Kind of the title of this video is um, Reverse Culture Shock. Here's my take, all the changes. I think you have to give credit where credit's due. And I think you have to scrutinize when something is not good. I did not, for 1 second, believe that tariffs would do anything but spike inflation instantly. And when it didn't do it in the first month or two, I was like, all right, there's a delayed effect. It's going to be in 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. I saw the Home Depot CEO recently go, he didn't vote for Trump, not a Trump guy. He's like, I see the data, I'm on board. I'm on board. Stalin, no, we're just visiting to sell our home. And I'm in the same boat. I'm like, okay, the threats of tariffs, all of that, good. When he bombed Iran, Trump, I thought, okay, that's going to create oil price spikes, but show of strength. Iran pretty much called the U.S. and said, hey, we got to show, like that we did something. So on Tuesday at 3 p.m., we're going to bomb in this location, right? Like they gave the U.S. the full heads up, and they didn't shut down any shipping lanes for oil, so oil didn't spike, right? So in 6 months, the economy is in better shape than I would have guessed. That's me. So how do I feel about the changes? I feel that my prognostication as like a guy who likes to analyze the economy without I don't give a shit who the president, who the vice president is, anything like that. I just look at policy. I've said this on many videos. What does the policy do? My thought was the policy would create more inflation, and it may, but it should have by now. By almost every economist view and my like amateur economist view, should have by now. 2.7% is not that, and there's underlying data in that inflation metric that came out recently that shows it's just not happening. So that's one thing. I think economically, I think that you have to give credit where credit's due. The big, beautiful bill, here's my take. And I said this when Obamacare was implemented, and so many people like that were against that, hated it as well. Here's my take. If I'm a Democrat right now, or if I'm a Republican way back when, right, when the Obamacare came in, the president was elected in both cases by a majority, or at least popular vote win, right? Whatever. They won the popular vote, and in Obama's case, he won the majority. The Republicans then, the Democrats now, they have a job to do. They need to present to the American people what they think is wrong with this. They need to do that with passion, with data, with information, not sensationalizing, and both of them do it. And they need to vote against it. If they truly believe, they need to put themselves on record as like, I'm against this. And I get why. The CBO's estimates on what it does to the national debt are insane. I think there could be mitigation with that, but we'll see. But I also think that the Republicans then, when Obama was elected, the Democrats today, after Trump was elected, have to say, okay, these bills, both of them, the Obamacare bill and the Trump big beautiful bill or big ugly bill, whatever you want to call it, big ugly bill, they're both an outline of the entire set of promises they got elected on. Absolutely vote against it if you're on the other side. And maybe you can convince some to vote against it with you to kill it. And that's great. You win. But otherwise, you don't do this impeachment crazy shit. You say to the American people, I'm totally against this. I respect democracy. And democracy said that they want this. The popular vote and the Electoral College said this is what they want. You got to let them implement it. That's my take. Obamacare, you had to let them implement it. Big Beautiful Bill, you got to let them implement it. And then we see what happens. I know it's like, wow, but this could happen. A lot of things could happen. But my take on the changes, that's this question, the changes, or is it? How do I feel about the changes here? CEO of Depot, not a Trumpy. Please, that is not true. He's not a Trumpy, Thomas. That's what I said. He's not. He is not a Trumper. But he just came out. Watch it on CNBC. He just came out and said, I'm a believer. You go watch it, come back and apologize for that comment, Thomas Forbes. Because he just said that. And I was like, wow, he's not a Trumper. I'm not a Trumper. I'm not a anything. I'm not a Harris. I'm not a Trumper. You identify me, people out there, as MAGA, whatever. Go fuck yourselves. That's how I feel about being identified by somebody else. I know what I am. I know who I am. And I'll state clearly what I think. I think that the economic policy has created less friction than I expected it to. But I also think that this Epstein thing, like, this could ruin Trump if he doesn't do something really, really, really well. Thomas, I love that you apologize, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But this Epstein thing is a bunch of crap. I mean, he is literally out there trying to shame people into like, why is this such a big deal? Motherfucker, you said it's a big deal. You sat up there during your campaign and said, I will absolutely release the Epstein files, the MLK files. And then your attorney general, who, by the way, I was at a party with before she was attorney general in Punta Cana, in DR. I was literally at a party with this woman. Like, I've met her. I don't know her, but I met her. She just happened to be there with somebody else or whatever before she was named AG. Like, she's fucked this whole thing up. You came out with these binders like, hey, we got it all, and now you're trying to walk it back? Like, this, to me, this is where politicians, I don't care if they're a businessman or whatever, they lose faith they lose the faith of the people. That's what happens. So stuff like that, I think, is absolute crap. Something about the Genius Act, I don't know enough about it to speak on it, so I won't, but I'll research it, and I'm sure I'll come up with something on one of these videos and talk a little bit more about it. But how I feel about the changes in America is I think Americans have more of a swagger than they did a year ago. That's no BS. When I came back last August, Americans felt, and even me, as an American living abroad, I could feel this sort of like, like gnashing the teeth, like what is going to happen now? I feel like Americans today feel more confident. And I'll tell you this, in two of the businesses that I either run or consult with that are not related at all to the Dominican Republic, suddenly people are buying more. And I've heard that from a lot of other people, that like consumer confidence, while different surveys might show mixed data, I just feel like people are saying, I keep hearing that tariffs are going to spike inflation. I keep hearing everything's going to go bad. I keep hearing jobs are going to go bad, but like jobs reports are positive. The CPI report is solid, if not good. The consumer spending reports show strength. And even you're going to see, I think at the end of this month, they're going to release the Q2 data for GDP growth. And I think you're going to see a return story. Q1's GDP growth is an anomaly because tariff policy made people pre-order for months, and therefore it looked like we had negative GDP growth in the United States. I think that economically, people are feeling much more confident than they were a year ago. That's just me, my take. Some of you see that as like, you love Trump. Whatever. You go think what you have to think. That's what I think. Here's one more thing I'll say about Trump. I heard this somewhere and I thought that is so freaking true. Because I don't get the loyalists. I don't. I understand the policy stuff. I do, because again, I tend to skew center right. Like economically, I skew center right. Like keep the taxes low. Social safety net should be at the lowest level. I don't think minimum wage should be $30 like Mamdani wants in New York City by 2030, which is freaking insane. 60 grand a year minimum. That's social programs shouldn't provide like, an epic life or a good life. They should provide a base level for people that need it. That's it. That's my take. So I skew center right, but what I see with Trump, and somebody said this is, it's like, this is the analogy. Imagine that the fate of your family's safety was a result of like an MMA fight. Like the winner of this MMA fight determines if your family is harmed or not. I'm a good guy. Many of you might like me. If I showed up as the guy to be in that MMA fight on your family's behalf, you might be like, no, I don't think so. But a guy like, I don't know, like whoever, who's controversial, Mike Tyson or Conor McGregor, an absolute brawler, like you're not maybe the most ethically clean individual in the world, like that's who you want. And I feel like what Washington has become is this like dirty, dirty place. And I think what Americans are seeing is like, I want a dirty, dirty guy. I want a guy that knows how to who knows how to elbow without getting caught in the same way that all of Washington does in charge. Like, I don't want the pristine, squeaky clean guy out in front. I think that's what Americans are saying. So it's like, if you want to clean up, and I think there's a major overcorrection that was needed, like immigration was out of control. Now you see what ICE is doing the other way. So it's a major overcorrection. And I don't like the overreach of ICE. I think ICE is overreaching in so many ways. But I think the need for them to clean up is as a result of such bad policy by Biden. Biden, for me, Democrat, Republican, whatever, was a terrible president. And I think you're seeing that Trump is getting latitude by many because he has to clean up, or at least is perceived as to clean up so much stupid policy. He's not cleaning up Obama's stuff. He's not cleaning up anything before. But Biden and what he did, or whoever was in charge, when he was president. It was just terrible policy, and you're seeing that have to be cleaned up. And I think people want a brawler. They want a guy who says crazy shit like grab him by the you know what, right? Like they want the guy that's dirty to clean up the dirty, because they know a guy like me can't think that way. You know, like I don't know how, I can't think in the immoral ways that people in Washington do. Trump can. And because he can, he has a better shot at making things better, but he also does shit like with what he's doing with Epstein. Like, oh, it's nothing to see here. Like, are you kidding, dude? Nothing to see here. You're out of your mind. That's my take. I should look at comments because I've talked a lot. Let's see what the chat's saying. As a realtor and business owner, lives here in the U.S., lives here, but my observation is different. Okay, that's fair. Tariffs that Trump keeps backing down from, he says, will take effect August 1. Let's see what happens. You know what's funny, Robert? In the markets, they say like when something is priced in, like if there's something coming that's positive for the market, you'll see the market spike before it actually happened. They say that's like because the impact is priced into the market already. I think that the market has learned that Trump is just going to keep kicking it, delaying it. So I think his chaos is being priced in to a lot of the CPI data and a lot of the jobs data. That's just my take. Just came back to the U.S. from a 12-day trip in DR with my family. 2 kids, went to Santo Domingo, up to Las Terrenas, spent 7 days in Cana, rented an SUV at Avis, drove the whole country, no problem. Yeah, James, we travel a whole bunch. Definitely watch out for those motos. That's what we do, but we drive a whole bunch. Challenges worldwide are huge. You can hate or love Trump. Is the right leader to navigate this moment? He might be, Cleo. I mean, who knows? Trump admin promised to take down the deep state, which we all know runs Washington via Yeah, let's see if he does. Because the Epstein thing doesn't give me confidence that he will. The tariffs that Trump, but again, economically, I'm like the CEO of Home Depot. I'm like, dude, keep doing what you're doing. Here's what I don't understand. This is an American thing. I talk about, like that first question, what's your take on America coming back? I've never seen a place in any way, shape, or form, a company, a business, a family, a country, ever root against root against the benefits that they're receiving just because of who's providing it for them. So if the economy is going well, if you're seeing strength in certain markets, if inflation is back under control or whatever, I'm seeing that people on the left are like, they want it to fail. They want everything he does to fail. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't get that. I want Biden to be successful. I want Obama to be, I want Abinader, or if it was Fernandez or whomever, to be successful because my kids live in the Dominican Republic. I want the best for my kids. I don't care if I'm right. Like I said, I thought tariff policy would sink it. I thought Harris was a terrible candidate. You can go back and watch my videos on that. That's not about left, right. That's just simply, hey, he's the better of two evils. I literally said that in the video. But tariff policy is going to create some pain in the short term, but maybe it will. I think I said in a few videos, like, but long term, it'll be good. It might be the opposite. It might be short term good, long term bad. We shall see. What are the comments we got? Inflation is going up in the USA. Food's so expensive. Eating out is crazy high each day. Anna, it is up, but it's not at the same pace. Like the thing about inflation, right? Like we're going from a base level. It was like here, it jumped 9%. And when we say inflation is down, it just means it's not jumping that high anymore, but it's still going up. Deflation would be like prices going down, and I don't know. I don't know if anybody can make that happen. Got to do what you got to do. To move from one country, culture, weather to another is something to really, really experience before moving. Would suggest rent and see. Yeah, Franklin, I agree with that. We did that. We did Cap Canada, rent and see what we want to do, and we were doing a year. We promised ourselves a year, and then it became more. All right, I got to jump and go down to this thing in a second, but I want to answer a couple more of these questions. There's some really good ones. Here's one. We're going to Punta Cana next week. This is Mrs. Ochoa. Is everything good to travel? So we're going to Punta Cana next week. Is everything good to travel? I don't know what the everything good to travel. Like some people fear news about Haitian deportations, but what age did you lose your hair? I didn't lose it. I shave it. I volunteer. Look at this. I didn't lose it. But I started shaving it like 7-8 years ago, completely bald. If it's the Haitian deportation thing, like that story went like this and then like this. I mean, for whatever it's worth, like there was a lot of attention, there was a lot of push, and I talked to some developers and people that employ Haitian workers, and they're like, yeah, it's kind of back, but they leveled for USA, right? They leveled for USA. You can see video and image of that. So there's not, and even when it was at its peak, like that was an overblown story in the media, in my opinion, as far as the impact to the broader Punta Cana area. It was one little area that all of this was happening. Some people feel as though it's bigger than it was. It wasn't. I'm not, again, when I say overblown, it's not overblown that, hey, there's a problem with the number of illegal migrants in the country, that the border needs to be protected. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying that people took the stories that you could see, like Alafoque and others doing these protests, and making it like Punta Cana was burning, and it's like 3 blocks way over there. So that's what I mean. So if that's the question about, is everything good to travel to Punta Cana? Yeah, there's no issue there. If there's, if it's a matter of safety in general, like I said at the beginning, this is one of the safest places in the country. The one thing I would say, as far as like good to travel in the summer, you got to be mindful of, is the seaweed, the sargassum. The sargassum is a problem in the summer, and it will be for a long time until they figure something else out. And I hope I've gotten a response from David Codiato's team. I hope to interview him. And I'm not gotcha-ing him. It would just like, what happens here? What do you think this? How do we get better with sargassum? Yada yada yada. But sargassum is the one concern. If you're coming down here for a beautiful beach vacation, you want to go to Bahia, you want to go to Dominicus, kind of La Romana, you want to go to Macau, you want to go to the North Shore, you want to go to Miches, Cap Cana, Punta Cana right now, not the spot. But if you're here because you want the weather and just the culture of DR and go out and eat and stuff like that, plenty of things to do. The beaches, though, if you're asking like, hey, I want to go to Juanillo, I want to go to Playa Blanca, not the right time for it. Not the right time for it. Let me see, there's another question here. How do you feel about changing the USA? Here's one. I might wrap with this. We'll see. Hey, Windsor, Ontario. I just saw that. You're not far from me in Detroit. What's your take on Wandolio? Wandolio is fine. I don't spend a ton of time there, but I think it's a solid option. It's probably the best option if you want to not be in Santo Domingo but have access to it. Oh, my God. SV Rosario Mami. SV Rosario Mami asks, do you have residency or visa? No, and that's on me to an extent. I hired an attorney that is extremely delayed in how she operates, like hard to get a hold of sometimes. But in fairness, I've also taken my time on this. So I filled out the paperwork. I got the fingerprint cards. I have the fingerprint cards. I've had them for over a year. I got to go to a local police station to get printed, give those back to my attorney to send to the FBI in the United States so that they can do the criminal background check. The issue for me is like I can never see because it's going to be a 4 hour, and it should be like 2 seconds go in and fingerprint. You guys know, you go into a bank, a government office, it's going to take hours. So for me, I just haven't set the time to do it, and I can create content doing it, all that. I mean, there's so many things. I got to go do it to get my residency. Is there an urgency? No. I think the biggest thing with residency and or citizenship, there's a couple. I won't be charged at the airport, although I'll just say that's not as big a concern for me. Like if it's $60 every so often, I got to pay, like whatever, like that's not like, oh my God, thank God I can say that. So that's one thing I won't have to pay. 2 is I can vote. If once I'm a citizen, I can vote. I get a cedula. So I can do certain things in country or I get better access to financing and that kind of stuff. And all that's good, but my wife's got all that. So I have less of an urgency with it. The only urgency, if there was one, was who knows what the future holds as far as my ability to stay visa-free in country. Abinader's gone. The country decides it wants to go all the way the other way with whoever the next candidate is. I just saw something about fingerprinting. Hold on, live chat. Julio, yeah, free of charge, but how long did it take them? Like, that's my concern. I've been delaying it because, oh, God. Janice Furman, yes, Punta Rusia is amazing. That was in my retirement video. It was one of my hidden gems. I left Windsor over 20 years ago. Don't blame me. It was cold up there. Cold up there in Detroit. What was I saying? I was saying about 14 days. No, how long did it take to go in for the fingerprinting? Like, how long was she there to do it? Was it like she was in and out in 15 minutes? Was she there for like an hour? How long did it take for her to actually go in and get printed? Unless if she was there 14 days, like maybe they threw her in a jail cell or something. Who knows? What was the question? Let me go back to the question that we were talking about. Oh, visa residency. The only thing is if a president changes that says, you know what, people staying here, we can't have that. We need residency. And then I'm getting like kicked out kicked out of the country when my wife and kids are citizens. Like that's a concern, but I don't think it's a realistic one or something that is realistically going to happen. I think me spending money in DR is wanted. Just put it that way. Me coming with my US dollars and spending money in the Dominican Republic, paying 18% on top of everything, buying real estate, paying the taxes, like that's wanted. So I can get the fingers. Yeah. Oh, I don't have the card with me. shit, I didn't think of that. I could have done it here. I didn't even think of that. I'm in the US. Although I have to come back in August, I have to go to California, or in September, no, August, I have to go to California. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll do it when I come back to the US, run in, get printed quick, and boom, I'm done. Good thinking. Thank you, folks, for helping me out with this. Is the process easier since you are married? Yes, much. Cigar Talk, much. Literally, I can get residency very quickly, and then I can automatically apply for citizenship. So, Teo, thoughts on Vista Cana? I have a 40-minute video I did 2 weeks ago on Vista Cana. I think it's the future, the next best future residential community in Punta Cana. Yeah, Punta Cana Village is number one right now. Cocotal is two. I think Vista Cana supplants that. I think Vista Cana overrides even the Cap Cana communities because of what it's doing there and having Ashton School in there. So, have you been to Panorama Garden, Vista Cana? I have, but I can't remember it, to be honest with you. So I'd have to go back to the video and watch and see. I see so many different places. They kind of jumble together as to where they are and what they look like. Somebody asked me about Montereso, which is in Vista Cana. I remember that a little bit because that's like an Italian thing. But anyway. So yeah, so that's it. So me in the US, my takeaways are that it's a crazy place. It's a beautiful place. I love the United States. I stand up and salute the flag at any point. That's me. I think the US is, again, I'm blessed to have been born there. So blessed that I can go and live in the Dominican Republic without having to think about it because I have a US passport and I can spend US dollars and all of that. Cigar Talk, I'll talk about the raids in Sosua. So that's my take on it. The political divisiveness getting so personal and the people like isolating themselves from others simply because of a political viewpoint blows my mind. But you can't wait to go home in the DR. I'm looking forward to getting home. I mean, if for no other reason, actually, I'll say this. I'm not looking forward to the weather. I like this weather better in the summer. Like if you can leave DR, it's like July, August. If the shortest period possible would be July, August, the most ideal period would be like June, July, August, maybe September. If you were out of DR for those months and back for the rest of the year, incredible. It's hot there. It's like muggy, sticky hot every summer. So I like the weather here. But it's home. It's my routines. It's everything right down there. Even creating content is so much easier there because I like to show, not just tell. So this is hard in a hotel room in Georgia. Looking at a lake over there. It's nice, but it's not DR. What did that just say? Top chat. What did that say? Bet you can't wait to go home. I thought it said something else. Raids in Sosua. I'll talk about that real quick. So the raids in Sosua are from what I've seen and learned, a focused. It's very heavily focused on, that's true, go to Sadabacoa, that's a good point, Franklin. Very heavily focused on the sex workers, on prostitution, on all of that. They've arrested not only the prostitutes, but Americans or what they call passport bros or whatever. So my take is, and it's funny, you guys know Gringo King. Do you guys know Gringo King? Have you seen my Gringo King video? Come on, let me know if you saw Gringo King. That was one of my best videos. I had so much fun with that. I watched his most recent, he did a live. That's why I say follow him. Like he did a live showing the raids in Sosua. It's on his channel, Kompai's Expat channel. Go watch that. And he made the point in that video, he's like, I've been telling people forever they're cleaning up Sosua. I went to Sosua 3 weeks ago and I went and did a video. And if you look at the comments on the video was like, guys, I've been to Sosua before, but I walked around from a standpoint of like, is it livable? Do you just get, like people were saying in reviews, all that's going to happen is hookers and drugs are coming at you all the time. So I'm like, well, let me go down there and let me just kind of see if that's what it was. Yeah, he was a strange guy, Yuka. But when I walked around, I honestly did a review of it. I ate tacos because somebody said the tacos are terrible in Sosua, which is kind of a funny review. I went to the beach. I walked around to see if I got solicited. I walked around for a while. I didn't. In fact, I had people recognize me more, which was kind of cool. So that was like, I should have wore like the Groucho Marx glasses or whatever. But I said in that video, like, I think a family can exist very well in Sosua. And everybody's like, you didn't go at night. I'm like, what family goes at night? What family goes at night? One. And two, the times I've been to Sosua, it feels less dingy each time. It still has like a grittiness to it. The city, not the outskirts, but the city. But I feel like there is the passport bro shit that got out on YouTube. Like, I don't think the country likes that image. I don't think Abinader likes that image. By the way, this dude, Abinader just donated all of his salary. Did you guys see this? 6 million pesos. He donated his whole salary. Like him or not, that's a hell of a gesture. But I think he truly, this is my take on it. I'm a fan of what he's doing. I don't know him. I don't know if he's a good guy, if he's an asshole, if he's a crook. I don't know. but I'm a fan of at least what he's doing. I'm not a fan of all of the execution, but I like where he's trying to go. And I think Sosua is an example of him saying, we want to elevate the status of the country. So that's my take. That's what I'm learning about Sosua. And, you know, Kompai, Gringo King, he seems to validate that, being a guy from Sosua. That's why I say follow him. He's in Sosua. He knows better than me, all of this stuff. So that's what I got. I hope this was helpful. Usually at the end of the video, I point over here and say, watch this video next. I don't know if I can do that, but I'll point there for a second. I don't do lives, but I want to do lives every Friday. You guys down with that? If I do lives every Friday doing an AMA, I'll get questions in advance and we'll do this, we'll interact. But I'll do an AMA every Friday. I don't know if it's gonna be this time of day. It might be more midday, we'll see. But I'll pick a time every Friday to go live and do an AMA. I'll get questions off of Instagram like this, or from the post section of YouTube, wherever it might be. And I'll do that. I'll do this every week so we can interact and engage and do all. I'll figure out how to do it better, because like I have to do it. I'm on my phone. I think I need to do it like on my laptop just so I can see the chat and everything a little bit better. But anyway, I appreciate all that. Listen, truly appreciate all. Oh, one last thing. Sorry, one last thing. From now forward, every subscribe, every follow on Instagram, every follow on YouTube, on TikTok, excuse me, I'm donating 2 cents to Second Mile Mission. So I know it's not a lot, but like it adds up. You know, the first day I did it, we were able to donate like $5 for that day. And if I do that every day for a month, it's 150, and hopefully it gets bigger and bigger. So if you like the content and you haven't subscribed already, please do. If you share this with people and say, hey, subscribe, the guy donates for that, that would be amazing. Hey, I want to grow my platform for sure, but I also want to do good in the country that I've adopted and called home. Second Mile Missions, my friend runs it. They're building schools for kids in underprivileged communities, in tough communities. And I'm all about helping them do that and get kids through school. So just simply, you don't have to donate a dime, simply subscribe, follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok. All of those, I have a lady, my assistant, tracking it every day. So I know my baseline from when I said I was going to do that, and every subscribe, every follow on TikTok, Instagram, 2 cents out of my pocket. So I want you guys to challenge me financially. I want to go like, I got to do 1 cent because it's too much, right? Like, so I would love for all of you to share this channel, share my Instagram, my TikTok, and as many people as can follow it, the better. It gives me more and more incentive it helps me grow the brand, which I think is, I'm more of a positive guy on DR. Some people don't like that. I get it, but there's plenty of negative out there. You can go watch it. Why not be a positive voice? And honestly, I don't want to say I'm a positive voice. I'm a positive guy, and I share my experience. So I'm not like, I don't believe I'm spinning and twisting anything. Maybe there's sometimes I do unconsciously or subconsciously, but I'm literally sharing my experience in the Dominican Republic. There's some highs, there's some lows, and I've been through some shit. Kid's been hospitalized. I've had surgery. We had a bad accident that we're still dealing with up in the North Shore, where I wasn't there and had to run up the shoulder of the road hundreds of yards to get to my family. And you know, were we going to be detained at the police department because we don't carry our passport with us? I don't recommend you do. Well, you need to turn in your passport so we can investigate. If you don't, you're in jail tonight. Like, well, thank God I have a good lawyer, because nobody spent time in jail that night. Like, I've experienced that shit, and I'll experience more. I'm living there. But the other side of that is the people, the culture, the ability to afford certain amenities and pay for things like housekeeping and all of that. There's so much positive that I just share my experience. And if it's something I don't love, I'll say it, like I said about driving earlier. But anyway, part of that is I want to give more. I've got a series coming out soon where I'm going to do 7 Airbnbs in 7 days, the 7 coolest Airbnbs in 7 days. My inner circle is going to be choosing the Airbnbs. If you want to join that, there's a link down below. You can do that. But I want to just show the world that, yes, every place has its problems. Let's just make that a given. But man, you know, why not? Level 2 travel advisory. Oh my God, it's so unsafe. Third world country. Like, well, there's another side to it. So I'd like to be the guy to show that. So I appreciate all of you. Subscribe, follow. I donate 2 cents for every one of those. And I appreciate you guys following along. There's an X right there. That's how I turn it off. I got to point again in case I put a video at the end of this. Hey, watch this video over here. That's what I would do on my regular videos. Have a great night, everybody.